Welcome back to another video, and today I'll be reviewing Catrice's seasonal update. Welcome back, and after being sick for over a week, you can still hear it in my voice, and if you watch my makeup news video during this week, you know that I was sick during last week. That's why we didn't have any videos, so sorry about that one. And actually, before we continue, some housekeeping, because there was a pre-planned filming break. So on the week after this one, there's gonna be unfortunately another week, like another break week with my videos, and that's purely because I have a weekend that I have to actually work, so I'll be working my paid job both on Saturday and Sunday. I will have the Monday afterwards like free, but I'm probably just gonna be sleeping and relaxing that day because I'm gonna be working through the whole weekend. So that was a sort of pre-planned break with my videos that I knew was coming, but unfortunately because I got sick we had an unexpected one. But at least for the week that this video goes live, we are going to get the normal 2 videos. So in this video we're going to be reviewing the seasonal update that Catrice did. So this is their summer, fall, or fall, winter. I don't remember how Catrice categorizes this, but this is basically like the summer, fall 2025 update. And we are going to be doing this a bit differently, and comment below, is this a better format? Usually we have done this so that we have gone through the cheek, basically in sections, so usually base, then cheek, then sort of lip products, and then eye products, and depending on the format of videos, sometimes we have included the eyeshadow products on, sometimes I include the palettes in a separate palette review video. But today we're doing this differently. I think this would be maybe better in evaluating what products were successful. So we are going to be putting these in groups of categories. So the first category is going to be the absolute worst that I would never recommend you to buy. Unfortunately, we did have one product in this category. Then I'm gonna show the kind of meh products, then the good ones, and then the sort of very exceptional good ones, if there were any. Today we will have each in 4 categories, but I thought this would be maybe better in terms of really separating what was actually good and what was then kind of meh, and then what wasn't good. But let's start talking about the products, because we do, as I said, we have at least one product in each category. So let us start with the worst one, and I do actually have a sort of swatch image, or even maybe a demo image, depending on the product in this side of the screen. So on the sort of absolutely don't try this, I did try I bought one of the eyeshadow duos, so they had 3 separate shades in this one, and this is the 020 Fairy Dust, and this is basically so that even though it might not show, it's basically a cream eyeshadow. I do think the shimmer is more of a traditional powder eyeshadow, but this one is a sort of putty formula. And I was initially quite excited about this one because I was thinking that maybe for one of those of you who are looking for one and done quick looks, this could actually be pretty good. And initially when I did apply this, I did notice that you did have to build this sort of putty matte shade quite a lot to get it to show up, but it was still quite easy to build and was pretty easy to blend. And the shimmer shade, it was very beautiful. Again, you did have to layer it a couple of times, but I did think after I got it to my eyelid that it looks pretty. Now I'm gonna put both the image of the look that I had, and then unfortunately how this looked at the end of the day. And this really didn't last. I wore this on a day when I didn't do much. I think I was so that I put my makeup around somewhere around noon, and then I went for a walk to get some exercise, and then I just did some small chores around the house, but I wasn't doing anything physically demanding. And this absolutely did, you can see that the shimmer basically at the end of the day has creased away. I also think the shimmer has caused the matte underneath kind of dissipate. So this is something that I wore this on a day that wasn't too demanding, and I didn't have my makeup on that long, and this didn't last us also. I'm afraid that if you would wear this on a longer day, I think it would be even worse. So I will say straight out, don't get these duos. At least for me, this didn't last. I actually, because I did see that when I swatched this out, I was able to kind of see that, okay, it's a more cream-like kind of formula. In order to help the longevity of this one, I didn't actually put any kind of eyeshadow primer. I just made sure that my lid was sort of dry, and there wasn't anything dry and clean eyelid to get it the best chance. But just this product is just, please don't buy this. I will get one of their traditional eyeshadow palettes, but this one, it was just bad. Then to the meh category. So these are products that they do work, but they work kind of like dime in a dozen. So first one is this one. So this is the under eye brightener. So this is basically a corrector. I'm gonna put out the hand swatch of this shade, and this is the corrector that I'm wearing. So this is a more of a peach corrector, meaning on a fairer skin this is meant to correct especially like purple or blue under eye color, which as someone like me who has definitely had their like my under eyes, I think it's been obvious that I do need actually a product like this one. So this is much better at least than the potted concealer that I did try in their Christmas calendar. This definitely does blend in with the rest of the product, like your makeup product. It doesn't sit on top of your skin, but this has a bit of a metallic hue to it. It's not anything too obvious, especially when you have a full face of makeup like I have done today. So the metallic hue kind of goes away, but it is still not gonna be like when you consider that my favorite is actually the Essence Peach Corrector that I have said that it just blends in so effortlessly and seamlessly with your sort of makeup, and you can actually use it as a standalone concealer. This, at least on my particular skin tone, you could definitely see that I have a corrector because of the metallic sort of sheen it has, and it kind of has quite strong peachy undertone to it, which could be on a maybe on a more like light skin tone that might not actually be such an issue, but on my sort of fair skin, because it's such an obvious orange like peachy hue, you kind of do need to like layer makeup on top of this, so it kind of will dissipate. In terms of like color correcting, I do think it does an okay job, but it's just that the finish of this one isn't my favorite, but it does do kind of the job that it needs to do. Similarly on the matte category of this one, so this is the Stay in Place, and this is their sort of tube-in mascara. I'm actually gonna show close up the one, so it has a more thicker plastic one. So this is a tube-in mascara, and this is actually the mascara I'm wearing, so you can kind of also see it aside from the image that I'm gonna pop here. You can kind of see how it looks like a bit further away. This does give you very nice lift and curling effect, and this definitely will hold your curl. So if you especially are looking for a lifting and curling mascara, I think this is actually a pretty good choice. And because it is a tubing mascara, I can also say now, having tried this like for several weeks now, it will stay put during the daytime, and it is pretty easy to get off. I did try to do the trick, even though this is not how I usually remove my eye makeup, but I did try out that does it do the trick that with warm water that does it wash away, and the trick does work on this one. Why this is still in the matte category, you actually do have to build this quite a lot to get it to the result that I like it, and because it has a more thicker, this sort of like thicker plastic applicator to it, I did feel that I did get a lot of excess over my sort of upper lash line, which meant that I had to go over my eyeshadow after I had applied my mascara, because I had like black spots on my upper lids, which is of course not a good look if you have other eye makeup on you. So I think this goes to the category that if the one would be maybe thinner and I would not have to build this so much to get the kind of end result that I like, then this would actually fare much better. So this goes to the category of mascaras that I am gonna actually use this until it's finished, but I am not gonna rebuy this one. But if you do want a sort of lifting and curling mascara and you're okay with a bit more thicker mascara one, this actually could be a pretty good option to try out. Then let's go to the good products. So these are products that I think are pretty good, and I would recommend. Not necessarily still like my absolute favorites, so there are a couple of products that fared even better, and products that I would say that are probably products that if I run out of them I might even consider rebuying them, but these are good products that will work out for you. First, let's start with the cheap product, and this is the blush palette that I'm currently wearing today, and this looks very used up. So this is the Blur Balm Blush Palette. So they brought one of these in their, was it fall edit last year, and I think that one had a bronzer shade. This is full on a blush palette that has a highlighter shade over here, and you can see this is very well used. I do think that you can get like a kind of, this is very what I would say pigmented cream blush formula. I was kind of initially afraid because when I swatched it out, these felt very emollient. I was kind of afraid that, okay, how is this gonna dry down? But even though these feel emollient swatched out, these are truly gonna dry down as matte blushes. If you're eyeing for something more satin or like even dewy, then this probably isn't the blush formula for you. Also the cream highlighter here, it's a beautiful, more subtle highlighter that I do think is gonna look flattering on a even more like textured skin. So if you're looking for something super blingy, then the highlighter here is not maybe for you, but I actually don't mind it that it's a more subtle highlighter. Why this is still like ranking to the good part, there are a few like practical things with this one. first of all, you can see this is quite messy, so even though my blush brushes aren't super big, but even with my, what I would say like smaller blush brushes, I still felt that you kind of had to be quite careful in order not to get the blush brush dipped into the other shades when you used it, because the pans of this one are a bit on the smaller side. And I do think that some of these like more pigmented shades were a bit like, I did have to work with them a bit more. It wasn't like anything terrible, and you can see I think the shade that I'm wearing today is this shade over here, so I did have to do more work to get it to blend out on my particular fair skin, but this is skin tone specific issue, so if you have a more like deeper skin, especially I do think someone with a medium to deeper skin tone is also gonna enjoy this one, because I can like guarantee that even the like more pigmented shade in those will show up even on a deeper skin tone than I do. But if you have a light to fair skin tone, then some deeper shades you might have to work with them more. But overall, let's say that if you are, for example, someone who wants to get into trying cream blush and you just want to try several shades, I think for drugstore this is a good way to start. Not my absolute still favorite formula, and as I said, in terms of the packaging, we do have some, I would have wished maybe a bit bigger pans because it would help with the like getting my brush into the pan that I want to try out the shade. But I do like the combination of shades in this one, and you do like get quite a few like selection to try out if you decide to buy this one. Then the lip product that I'm actually wearing, I don't know how much I have left of this one. So this is their Diamond Glaze Gloss Stick. So this is I think this is their try on the Fenty gloss sticks that are very popular. So I hope this is showing. So it's what I would say it's a sort of like rosy reddish shade that has like gold sparkles in it. I do think this is a very nice gloss product. Maybe I would have liked it to be a bit more sparkly on the lips. I think the tube makes this look more sparkly than it actually is when you apply this to your lips. This has enough pigment of it that you can use this as a standalone, because I did try this initially that I had for my lip liner, like I colored my lips through with my lip liner. But today I'm wearing this so that I only lined my lips and then I filled the lips in with this one. And you can use this both ways. This has, at least this particular shade has enough pigment for it to sort of be also as a standalone lip product. Why this isn't gonna be my like absolute favorite, the packaging, first of all, this is a very, even for Catrice, I would say that this is very cheap plastic packaging. This almost feels like kids makeup when you try this out. And second thing that why this isn't gonna be my favorite, this has a bit of an odd taste to it. You don't really, when you are just going about your day, it doesn't really get into your mouth, but if you eat something, I would first maybe take the initial layer of this one off with a napkin, because when you eat something and you have this on, you kind of get the taste of it in your mouth. It's a very similar taste that they have in their lip mask that I got in their advent calendar last year. So if you have tried the lip mask, you know what I'm talking about. So, but overall in terms of formula, it could be a bit more maybe sparklier, but then you have to consider that this is a drugstore formulation. They did have a decent amount of different kind of shades for this one, so there's shades to choose from, and if you don't want something so pigmented like this one, I think they might have shades in the line that don't have as much of pigment to them. But it's a good drugstore option, but it's still not maybe the best that you can maybe get in this type of product. Then the liquid lipstick, so this was their Endless Matte liquid lipsticks, and this was a pretty confusing product because I thought this was a lipstick they brought out already during their sort of spring edit launch during this year, but then the liquid lipsticks were not available and now they sort of brought them also in store, so I don't know what was the thing with this one. I got mine in the sort of very, this was in the sort of cool tone pink shade that I've actually been looking to get a new cool tone pink shade. What is this one called? They are so bad with these ones. 050 Kiss Me Quick. So I've been actually looking for a new cool toned liquid lipstick, cool tone pink liquid lipstick shade, because I did have a shade like this from Blend Bunny, but I think my formula expired with that one because it started like leaking out of the package. It was very inconvenient to store because it got messy all the time, even though I tried to wipe it off with some paper. But this one, I would have to say that if you are more of a fan of this traditional liquid lipstick that stay put almost the whole day, then I would actually recommend this one. These are very smooth to apply. These don't do anything funny. You can actually reapply these without them to start looking like cakey or that they start cracking on your lips. I have noticed that with some traditional liquid lipsticks, especially when you try to reapply them, then the formula starts doing something funny. With this one, there were no such issues. This doesn't dry down completely. You will definitely have some color. If you, for example, drink from a glass, you can then get a small amount of product to the rim of the glass, but this goes to the category that if you have been missing more of the traditional liquid lipstick, this is still pretty close to that one. Obviously, even though I think they're advertising that this is supposed to be a non-drying formula, this will get drying on a long day. So if you have super dry lips, then maybe stay away from this one. But if you've been just looking for a good liquid lipstick on drugstore that does the job, I would still go to this one. And I do think they had quite decent range of neutral and red shades in this one. Is this still something revolutionary in terms of liquid lipsticks? No, and that is also the reason why this goes to the category of good products and not the excellent products. But for me, this is very good that they did launch this, because as I said, I've been looking for this sort of cool tone liquid lipstick shade again, and I am happy that I got it in this collection. And now we're gonna go to the very exceptional products, meaning that these are products that I would say that are probably gonna be in my end of the year favorites and are something that if you would go and ask, okay, what should I try from this particular brand, these would probably be the products that I would discuss. So first one, which is very surprising, is this one. So this is the Soft Blur Matte Setting Powder. I'm gonna post so that we're not gonna have the thing that the powder is gonna be falling in front of me. I'm gonna put the picture of the how the powder looks to the screen. I am very surprised. I used to have, and this is something you know if you have watched my channel from the beginning, so I used to have a combo oily skin, and especially when I was still in my 20s, it was more of true oily skin. So I have always had to wear powder with my makeup. It's not as bad as these days, because now I'm in my 30s, and apparently when you turn 30s, your skin goes from oily to dry. So welcome to that age segment, but I still do have to wear powders, especially if I'm wearing makeup for a long time, because at the end of the day their oils still kind of come through. And the powders have been a necessary evil for me. I don't think I have ever found a powder that has made me, because some people have their holy grail powders that they swear through. For me, powders have always been that I kind of need them, but I've never quite found the favorite. This might finally be the favorite. This is it's such a fine formula. It doesn't, because some very cheap drugstore powders, especially loose powder, they have this flower bag effect, meaning that if you open a bag of loose flowers, you get this sort of poof. This doesn't do that. It stays like the formula because it's very finely milled, but it still stays. It kind of has enough to it that it doesn't go all over your desk or your clothes when you apply it. And it just looks very you get a very sort of nice, this sort of airbrushed finish without looking too matte or cakey or drying. Also, I'm gonna give credit to this one for maybe the packaging is kind of thing that I like about this and don't like about this one. So this sort of has this sort of thing over here in the cap, and it means that this is a very safe powder to travel with, because the sort of when you close it down, it kind of means that it kind of make sure that this part of the divot here is better covered. But because it has this sort of thing here in the middle, it also means that using this is a bit of a challenge, because you then can't do what you usually do with powders, is that you apply it to the inside of the cap, and then you sort of go with your brush and then spread it to your face. So the packaging is kind of that. I would say that this is a very, what I would say, travel-proof packaging, because this really makes sure that you're not gonna get any powder coming out of this one. I can say, for example, that the Morphe powder that I have, no matter how tightly I screwed this packaging tight, I still had powder coming out of the packaging. With this one, because it has the sort of extra security within the cap, it doesn't do that, but it kind of does hinder a bit of the usability. That I do have to get creative in how to use it, but still excellent formula. I think if you've been looking for a very finely milled drugstore powder that doesn't look heavy or cakey, that gives you a very soft airbrush finish, I would definitely go for this one. This is excellent. Second product is kind of I'm a bit deducting points because you have to buy this as a duo, but I'm not gonna complain too much about it because these kind of products are a bit hard to find, at least in drugstore. So this is the Butter Like Bronze and Contour palette. So first about the name and about the scent of this one. I think this is clearly trying to mimic the NYX. I actually have it here. So Catrice is trying to dupe this product. This does have a very similar scent to this one, but it's not as, the Catrice one doesn't have as strong of a scent. But I do have to actually say, in terms of like how this feels, I do think the NYX formula is pretty buttery smooth, but I feel that this is even smoother. I could already feel it when I swatched this out. I was kind of thinking that this feels very good for being a drugstore formula. The only thing that I would wish that this was sold in singles rather than duos. I did try the bronzer shade and this is way too orange for me. Like even compared to the, I have the NYX Butter bronzer in the fairest shade that is very orangey warm leaning, but this is even more orangey leaning, so I can't use the bronzer shade in this one, but I'm not gonna complain too much about it because this has the perfect neutral bronzer shade, and this is like almost as, I would say the Benefit Hoola is the only closest thing for a very truly excellent neutral bronzer shade that someone like me who has cool rosy undertone needs, because most bronzers are just like, they are gonna be too warm for me. But this one has a very good, like they are saying that this is a contour shade, but I'm still gonna say that it is, at least for my skin tone, it is still more of a true bronzer because it is like, it is neutral rather than pink real cool leaning. I think you're gonna be a bit disappointed if you buy this duo thinking that this is gonna be a very truly like cool tone bronzer. At least on my particular skin tone, it's not a cool toned contour, but rather it is like a true like neutral bronzer, which is why I'm actually liking this a lot. Something else that I'm gonna bit critique for this one, this only came in 2 shades, so this is the fair shade and then they have a medium shade and that's it. And I think I saw the medium shade, and the medium shade version doesn't look too much deeper than the fair one. So I think if you have anything to a deeper skin tone, you're not gonna find your shade in this one. This is a forever problem with Catrice and also with Essence's product, is that they don't always cater towards like deeper skin tones, which is quite like annoying considering that they are very widely available drugstore brand here in, at least in Europe. Or if they do have shades for deeper skin tones, then you can only buy those online, and in stores you usually only get the very fair ones. So that is still something that they need to improve on, but for me I think this is gonna be one of my like favorite bronzing products, because I do think the formula of this one, it's even like a bit better and a bit smoother than the NYX one. And the scent this has, it is pretty similar than the NYX one. If you like the NYX one for its scent, then I would maybe advise buying it, because with this one, when you get close to the pan, then you can smell the sort of like scent which is quite close to the NYX one, but it's not as strong, which could actually be a good thing, that if you are sensitive to scents, then this could actually be better than the NYX one, because with this one, once you have applied this to your cheeks, the scent will dissipate quite like much quicker than with the NYX one. But this one for drugstore, truly excellent formula. I just wish that you could get the bronzer shade individually, and generally that they would just make more shades. But in terms of like just purely being like a drugstore bronzer formulation, this is going to be very hard. Sort of my review of the Catrice's seasonal update. Comment down below, have you tried any of these products and what were your thoughts about them, and maybe tell me that if you did try some of the products, what were your sort of favorites from this seasonal update. The Essence review is gonna be coming up. As I said, we're not gonna be having videos next week because I'll be working during the weekend, but the week after that I am gonna be posting the Essence one, because I have now tried the Essence sort of seasonal update first that I got. I'm actually wearing the concealer and the foundation from that update currently, so I have like gathered my thoughts about the product, so you will be getting that next once I do have time to film again. If you like this video, push the like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell button if you want to get notifications for future content. You can also find me with the same nickname, Makeup Hedgehog, on Instagram. I hope I will see you in another video. Bye bye!